What's up, folks? We'll give it a few and let some people come on board. It's probably going to be stale in here because it's been so long since I've gone live, and I don't think anyone was expecting this. But there's just a few things I want to discuss. So, what's up? What's up, folks? Davey, what's up, bro? Thank you for the congrats on the certs, and I'm not done. So I got my CISSP. I have my CASP Plus. Well, they call it. I don't know why CompTIA did this, but they call it Security X now. But whatever. It is what it is. And the next cert that I'm going to get is my CISM, and then after that, I'll probably do shift gears and do PMP, which is Project Management Professional. So I think after I get my CISM and my PMP, I think the next cert that I'll do after that, that's not because I have blockchain related certs too. I think CCNA, just to get it, will probably be the next one that I do. But thank you. So we got a question here from XRP Trucker. He said, "T, where do I start if I want to work in your field?" Well, I'll say this: you're going to have to start at the very bottom in IT. The best advice I could give someone who's new to the field, if you're not coming out of college with an IT degree, is to try and get an internship somewhere in an IT organization. I mean, whether that be for the federal government, some sort of corporation. If you can get an internship and get some good experience in that, it'll set you up. You'll probably have to get a cert or two, mainly something like a Security Plus if you're going DoD, and then take it from there. Get a entry level help desk job. A good enterprise organization won't just have you reading off of a script, right? That'll be a part of it, but they'll allow you room to grow regarding your analytical ability, and they'll encourage it. They'll also, and I've said this before, I sound like a broken record because I've been asked this before, but they'll encourage training, so you'll probably get more certs down the line, and yeah, you'll pretty much start from there. If you do a help desk position, you'll be able to decide from there what it is you like. Are you a server guy? Are you a network guy? Do you like dealing with PKI and information assurance, cybersecurity, etc.? You can kind of branch. That'll from your foundation. You can kind of branch out, right? For me, I'm more of an infosec. Server, AD, client side guy, but one of my coworkers has really inspired me to become a network guy. And so I find myself now, even though we deal with a lot of security stuff, I can't go into detail about everything we do at the job, but I like networking a lot. And I'm also partial to the leadership realm as well. As a matter of fact, my master's will be in management and leadership, but I do have an IT degree as well. So just putting that out there. But yeah, that's kind of where you need to start at. You need an internship. You need some way, if you work in an organization that has an IT department, to get over there and do OJT as well. However you manage to do that. So hopefully that works out for you. You can hit me up on Twitter or offline, and we'll talk some more about it because that's a subject that I can go all day about, and I don't want to take up time from the crypto talk. But yeah, that's the meat and potatoes of it. So the market, what's going on, right? We saw a few months ago price shoot all the way up to I think 330ish, maybe even a little beyond that. And then obviously things happened regarding Bitcoin. Uh, and a bunch of other catalysts as well that I believe caused the market to, take a downturn. If you were to ask my boy Kurt, he would talk about I think it's the yen carry trade. Look, I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't know enough about it to get on here and speak definitively about why that caused fluctuations in the market. He'd be a better source to ask about that. Him and Outlaw and the rest of the fellows can help you out with that a little bit better than I can. And I'm not ashamed to say that, right? and no one knows everything. But what I can tell you is this. All right. Now is not the time to lose hope in crypto or the market. Okay. When you see stuff like this happening, right? When you see a downturn in the market, you see more selling activity than you do buying activity. You see a lot of red. You have to start asking yourself with an asset class like this that's going to be heavily dependent upon regulations, what comes next, and not just what comes next, but what's happening that you're not paying attention to right now, right? Ripple came out of nowhere and acquired, what was that corporation that they got a hold of, or that broker firm? I think it was Open Road, if I'm not mistaken. Dude. All right. Now, I'm not going to be like the grifters and come on here and tell you that that's going to make XRP go to $1 million overnight. All right. I don't get down like that. You guys already know that. But what I will tell you is this. That's a prime broker dealer that are hidden road. That's what it's called. Open Road. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you can tell I've been away from YouTube for too long. I'm over here slacking. But yeah, thank you, Wall Street Oracle, Hidden Road. If you look at the stuff that Hidden Road is plugged into, it's safe to say, Ripple's they're like Thanos, man. They're walking around with a gauntlet on. Hey, we'll take Medico. Hey, we'll take Hidden Road. Hey, we'll take this, that, and the third. Hey, we'll partner with Archax. Hey, we'll add derivatives to the playbook as well. Hey, but I mean, look, all right. All of that is great, right? And I know people are going to look at that and they're going to say, hey, there's no significant price action with any of these announcements. But what you're not understanding is that in order to enact a lot of the utility that they're going to be enacting through these mechanisms, you need some sort of legal clarity. All right. And for those, I have stood on this hill and fought people off of this hill for years about the lack of regulatory framework in the United States and legislation. Okay. Now, I'm not going to name any names of the people who have come at me and told me we had more than enough and everything was going to be just fine. And the moment this, that, and the third went live, they'd be able to use it and you'd see the price appreciate. All right. Because I'm not going to be messy like that, but you know who you are and you're probably on here watching this. That's not how it works. All right. If you don't have congressional legislation, you don't have shit. Okay. And I'm just going to put it to you frankly. All right. You need Congress to pass bipartisan legislation in order to allow these institutions to jump in. And here's the thing, right? And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. What you really witnessed, and this is how I knew it was going to, certain dominoes needed to fall and play the right way, how it really works. To the average person, you think that Congress does things on their own whim, not realizing that the institutions aren't waiting for Congress. They put Congress in play in those positions, and they have to make sure that certain things aren't going to circumvent the legacy system that they benefit off of first before they tell Congress what to do regarding the passing of legislation in DC. Okay, look, people can argue with me about that all they want. I know better. Okay, these institutions will stall legislation until fintech companies and those affiliated with them come forward and say, oh, okay, we're not going to fight you for this market share. We're going to integrate with you. Okay. And when that integration is known to these institutions, they say, aha, all right. So now we don't have to worry about you anymore. We won't stall the regulatory clarity that you guys need as fintech companies, because this is what you got to understand. The banks are going to make their money regardless. All right. They just don't want competition. Okay. So unbeknownst to all of you, or some of you, what they're going to do is they're going to go behind the scenes, and the same lobbying that they do with these bankers, they're going to turn it up a little bit and say, hey, come here. All right. So we got this company Ripple. We know that their mechanisms can circumvent or at least damage or disrupt our current business model because we tested them. Okay. We had our R3 member banks test this token as a Nostro account replacement, and Nostro accounts are our bottom line. So we don't want to be threatened by this. So we need you guys to ramp this up a little bit. We need a regulatory agency to, put the coals to their feet a little bit. How about, congressmen and women, you guys, kind of stall on this and act like you don't know whose job it is to pass comprehensive legislation and regulatory framework. How about we all just kind of play dumb for a little bit until we figure out how we're going to deal with this threat, or this threat suddenly doesn't become a threat anymore and they become an ally. And when they become an ally and they let it be known to us that they want to integrate with our systems, now we don't have to worry about fighting you anymore, and we can get this stuff done. And that's what you're seeing. We're at that point now where Ripple and the rest of these companies that were originally conceived to circumvent the legacy banking system no longer, I won't say they don't have that desire, because I can't speak for the executives of these companies. I'm not a mind reader, but I do know for a fact that integration is going to be the next chapter that we see. So that's where we're at. All right. Relax. Understand that you now have a pro crypto administration in its entirety. Just let these things play out. Okay. The fear regarding tariffs and a whole myriad of other subjects have caused these markets to, temporarily tank, if that's what you want to call it. A lot of us have hypothetically been in crypto so long. This is nothing. This is just like whatever. Said hi everybody. Oracle, I wouldn't call myself Oracle. A lot of people call me that. I just have a lot of common sense, right? I'm Oracle's pushing it, man. Like, I don't think of myself like that. I have made some pretty good calls, but I think most of the calls that I made are just off of the understanding void of emotion, right? I mean, I have emotions. I'm human just like you guys are, right? The only difference between me and some people is that I can remove my emotion when it comes to financial perspectives and decisions, right? I'm not one of those people that's going to get all wound up. Instead, I'm going to look at the bigger picture, all right? And because I work in tech, I understand interop. I work with systems every day that have to correlate with this variable, that have to work with this variable, and that this variable over here doesn't work right, then none of it works, etc. Right? This is how I put food on the table. So that gives me an unfair advantage over most people. And I'm not just one of those guys that's worked like in, one area of IT his entire career, right? I've worked with networking. I've worked with server administration and management. I've worked with information security. I've worked with cyber components. The list goes on. So I have a pretty decent understanding. And even at my job, I learn something new every day, right? So I don't know everything, but I know how things work together. So it's not hard for me to make tech calls. And I don't really think it makes me special. Like I said, I just have enough common sense to know what I'm looking at, right? So with that being said, okay, this is why I fought so hard to get people to understand how important regulations were and that we didn't have enough yet. Okay. Now, what's funny about that is the OCC and the FDIC come out and they say what? Right? I'm just saying. The OCC just gave the green light, okay? And then the FDIC turned around and said, oh, by the way, on top of what the OCC said about giving the green light to banks to enter the crypto space, guess what? You also don't have to clear it through us first to jump in. See what I'm saying? So this is what I meant. And to the people who battled me on that, hey, no hard feelings, man. I get it. You know, I know when Fed Now came out and people saw the Regulation J framework and they thought everything was all good, and you were going to see immediate usage and ascension in price, right? I get it. That's what it looks like, okay? But when you work in tech, you understand technical documents, and you have to, Jesus, you have to read them and create SOPs, etc. You know, you just have a different level of understanding. It doesn't make those people stupid. That is what they saw, and I don't blame them for thinking that, right? Without mentioning names. But I knew there was more to the puzzle that needed to be placed there before we saw any of that happen. And we're still not there yet, but we're getting there. Okay. So remember that. All right. I'm hammering this point home because you're going to have a lot of people that have grown exhausted over these last few years. They don't understand, excuse me, that there's a ton of other things that need to happen, but they're going to happen relatively quickly. I know Donald Trump, I ate something spicy. Ooh, wee. Wrong pipe. I know Donald Trump said that he wanted legislation on his desk by August. I'm of the mind to think it may happen before then because everyone's on board. I don't think there's really a majority at all opposing comprehensive regulatory framework or legislation regarding crypto. So with that being said, I think that's a great thing. But there's another secret sauce about why I was hammering the point home about regulations and law so hard. And that's institutional involvement with capital and technology. All right. Now, keep in mind, folks, EZA just announced that they were bringing 1.1 million developers over to the XRP ledger. Now, I'm not the smartest man in the space by any means. But why would you need 1.1 million developers on the XRPL? EZA, yep. And shout out to the Kwan brothers, by the way. I'll tell you why you would need 1.1 million developers on the XRP ledger. You need that amount of developers because you have a significant amount of institutions that want to leverage the mainnet. But here's the thing, all right, that I need you guys to understand. No, you're not going to be rich by now. You're going to have to wait. Sorry, man. You're rich. You're just rich in slow-mo. Everything hasn't happened that needs to happen yet. But it's coming. And if you give up now, you're you're going to regret it. It would be smart and it would behoove or benefit you to wait and be patient until they're done implementing regulatory framework and law. But with that being said, you don't have that amount of developers coming over to a project like the XRPL without having plans of building a significant amount of solutions regarding institutions to be able to interop with the mainnet. Now, this is what I think happens here. Who's this? Cypher? Well, yeah. Anyways, that's a child. This is for the adults in the room. Ignore him. So here's the thing, right? This is what's going to end up happening. And yeah, we all know Ripple sells XRP, dipshit. That's what they do. They're a company. They're going to benefit their bottom line and make a profit. All right. If you can't handle that, sell it and get out of it. Call it a day. But this is what's ultimately going to happen at some point. You're going to have decentralized application-based solutions built, these institutions are likely going to plug in to the mainnet via sidechains. Now, here's why this is important. All right. It's important because a lot of people forget that when you have a sidechain that's connected to the mainnet for interop purposes, those users of the sidechain have to lock up XRP. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. What ends up happening is they go out onto the mainnet and they take, let's say you have an institution that does 10 trillion in transactions a day, right? Now, are they going to turn around and lock up $10 trillion worth of XRP? Not necessarily. It's not a one-to-one ratio. But what they will likely do at some point is they'll lock up enough to correspond with the fees that are going to be associated with the amount of transactions that they do on the mainnet. So imagine this. You got 1,000 institutions that move, let's say, an average of $500 billion a day, right? They're all interconnected to the XRPL mainnet via a sidechain. That means that they're going to have to plan to go out to the mainnet and lock up a specified amount of that real world XRP. And then in turn, they'll use a wrapped version in the sidechain environment. So here's my question to you. And it's so easy to see. And we're not even talking, FX integration, which has already been announced. We're not talking derivatives, which have already been announced. We're not talking the Archax partnership, which already announced 50 trillion worth of assets being tokenized on the XRP ledger within the next 2 years maximum. And we're not talking about any of the other partnerships that are likely going to bring real world asset tokenization onto the ledger. Okay. We're just talking institutional sidechains, right? That are going to require these folks to go out and lock it up. Now, when it's locked up, do you think that's in the secondary supply or open market or circulating supply? What do you think happens to that? That's a question. If JP Morgan interconnects to the XRP ledger for settlement purposes regarding remittances, etc., and they build a sidechain, right, to connect to the XRPL, and let's say they move about 10 trillion a day. Let's say they want to take half of what they do and go out to the mainnet and lock up a certain amount of XRP to correspond with the fees that are going to be required for the amount of transactions that they do on a daily basis. What happens to that XRP? Does it just stay on the mainnet? Does it just stay in the open supply? Oh, they locked it up, but that's still circulating. You could go out to an exchange and buy it, right? Individuals like the gentleman that just came in here and said, you clown, blah, 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 blah. I want to be seen. Look at me. People like that. Unfortunately, there's more of them than there are you. And what individuals like that are going to learn are a very hard lesson in life. Okay. They're going to learn a very hard lesson about ego, about maturity, about patience, and about proper decision making. Okay. Because these people out here don't have a clue what they're looking at. Most people who have been invested in the asset space for years don't have a clue what they're looking at. They're making everything so convoluted and complicated when it's really basic supply and demand, market participant dynamics that are ultimately going to lead to price appreciation and then the requirements associated with interconnecting with a mainnet. All right. That is likely going to be in high demand. This is not something that, and people wonder why I don't charge. This isn't something you need to come and give me $100 a month for. Okay. Number one, I have a good enough career. I don't have to fleece people on the internet for money. All right, let's start there. I go out and work like a real man. All right, I don't need to steal from people because I went and Googled some shit off of, the Swift website that you could have went and Googled if you weren't being fat and lazy. No offense to fat people, right? I'm just saying in general, it's a figure of speech. But get off your ass, stop being lazy and go and Google it yourself and stop paying people who barely understand what the hell they're looking at to tell you something to make you feel good about your investment because you're scared. All right. That's why I never took any of your guys' money. Don't be scared. Be knowledgeable. All right. And make yourselves knowledgeable. All right. Like I said, man, this isn't complicated. You don't need a Udemy course. You don't need an academy. All right. And like I said, the homie Cypress, the Manicore, hey, him and his team, I'm not gonna lie. Even though they put some good work out there. Shout out to him. And I hope I said his name right and I didn't bomb it. So there's some folks out there that do good work who charge. But if you're paying, pay because you enjoy it, not because you're scared and fearful and you need constant reassurance. All right. It's part of the reason why I don't do content anymore like that, because you guys are better than that. You're smarter than that. You don't need someone to hold your hand anymore. If you've been following me for years, look, we've had how many conversations that have been 3 to 5 hours a piece from here to Twitter that have told you, look, this is what's going to happen. This is what's coming. We don't have enough yet to make it to this point. Just hold on, be patient. It'll get there with the change of the old guard. It happened, and it's happening right now in front of your faces. All right. Supply, demand, utilization, coupled with a scarcity catalyst regarding reserve-like components attached to the asset. All right. That's all it is. All right. You want more hodling or holding pressure than you have selling pressure, and you want reserve-like components regarding integration with the XRPL and token and mainnet into the traditional legacy system that require a deduction or a dwindling of the circulating supply off of the open market. And you get that from reserve-like components like sidechain interop. All right. And I can tell you this right now, almost every institution that's going to utilize the XRPL will have a sidechain plugged into that mainnet. I'm just saying, you don't got to listen to me. We've had these conversations for years. And I told people when XRP was at 18 cents, you better back the truck up. During a downturn and a bad time in the market after a pump, it's still over $2. You went out there and just got yourself 50,000 when it was in between 18 and 38 cents. You'd be sitting on over $100,000 right now. Just saying, easily. He said, no, they do need to listen to you. No, they don't. Whoever said XDC is over, goddamn, man. Bro, come on, man. All right, I'm not gonna condescend or say anything mean or inflammatory, but I will say this: go and look at. Did you not just hear me talk about the RChax partnership with the XRP Ledger and Ripple regarding tokenized assets to the tune of 50 trillion being thrown onto the XRPL via that partnership? Guess what? The same company's partnered with the XTC network, but it's over. No, you're just looking at the price. Glenn Hutchins said it the best. The price of an asset is a distraction. The true value is in the protocol. You guys are looking way past what's coming, what's being integrated, and you're just looking at the price right now and saying, it's not where I think it should be. Well, who are you? No disrespect, but in the scheme of things, you're nothing compared to a JP Morgan. You're nothing compared to an R3. You're nothing compared to any of these institutions out here, a BlackRock, etc. Right? Relax, okay? You guys, I'm gonna tell you this, and you know what? Sue me. This is official financial advice. You better fucking go and buy XDC. You want to sue me? Sue me. Say, T put out financial advice. I don't care. You better go buy XDC. Watch cheap. And you can listen to people that come out here and shit on it because it's only 6 cents or 7 cents. It's nothing. Look at XRP. Okay, yeah, look at XRP. But you better not sleep on XTC either, because I'm going to tell you right now, when tokenization hits the scene and it starts flowing through the XTC protocol and it starts taking a portion of the global trade and finance messages that Swift generates, because it's already been chosen for Swift integration as of 2021. And there was an announcement made with Chainlink partnering with the XTC network regarding this integration. All right, like I said, go ahead and pass up on it while it's 6, 7 cents if you want to. That's fine. I'm going to continue to tell people that is one asset I will tell you straight up. You better go and buy it. Oh yeah, XLM's a good one too, as well. I've always said that. XTC is not part. Now watch this. Someone said XTC is not partnered with Chainlink. God damn it! Can you drop screenshots in here? Oh, hold on. I'm going to screenshot this. This was screenshot. Got it. All right. Because now you're going on Twitter for this one. Yep, because I have proof from Chainlink. There we go. Yeah, Chainlink announced it. Ta-da! Guess what? You're going in my scrapbook. Anyways, Chainlink, I get all that. Chainlink came out and announced a partnership with XTC, with the XTC network. Whatever, man. All right, we're not going to do the fucking semantics, all right? Now, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Someone go Google it real quick. Yes, I know they have a plugin, but it doesn't matter. They were chosen by Chainlink in a press release regarding Oracle, just like Ripple. Did you not see those announcements? Well, let me ask. I'm not even upset. Did you see the announcements that Chainlink made about that? Whatever your name is, you're a bunch of numbers. So bunch of numbers. Did you see that? Who saw that? Who saw the announcements that Chainlink came out and made regarding their interop? Okay, so if you saw the announcement, then what are you getting at here? I'm not saying that Chainlink, the company, has a... What I'm saying is that there's going to be integration between the two protocols for a secure data exchange regarding oracles. All right, there we go. I spelled it out for you because saying a partnership is too simple. There we go. So anyways, yeah, I want to show a hands in here of everyone who saw the announcement regarding Chainlink, Oracle, Secure Data Exchange, and Ripple and the XTC network. Who all saw that? Because I want to make sure I'm not crazy here, right? He's saying, it's just a plugin. You're talking about the wrong announcement, bro. It wasn't 2019 that Chainlink came out and said this. Show of hands, who all saw it, right? Like I said, I'm just, some random crazy jigaboo dude on here just spouting his mouth off. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't work in tech. I didn't see the announcements. I'm confusing the Price Oracle Secure Data Exchange with the plugin. Yeah, what? You can't make this shit up. Yeah, anyways. All right. So there's enough people in here who saw what I was talking about. And like I said, I can't post a screenshot. Otherwise I would, but it's on my Twitter. Yeah, I think Velo is pretty decent. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, and then here's the thing, right? Hold on. I gotta pause this because I gotta go find this real quick. Give me a sec. Okay, so I found it. It literally says, hold on, I'm gonna go, let me find it verbatim, okay? And I want you to explain this because this is on Chainlink's website. Since you're saying it's a plugin, I got time today. All right. So hold on. Give me a sec. I'm going to yeet myself again because I want to make sure I have the verbiage correct. Hold on. Give me a sec. As Zenfin will use Chainlink oracles to power global trade and finance, right? What did I just say? Didn't I say it was Oracle related for data exchange? That's on Chainlink's website, by the way, and I screenshotted it. So what I'm going to do, and no disrespect to the person who thought it was just plugin related, maybe that's his way of trying to say that it's Oracle related, and they're going to use a plugin essentially for the Oracle interop regarding data exchange, right? Maybe that's what he was saying. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. All right. I get it. Everyone, yeah, like I said, you're talking about an announcement that was made, and I'm not doubting that maybe there is a plugin project, just like there's an Impel bridge, right? There's multiple things that can be true at one time. Just because you're saying it's a plugin doesn't mean that the announcement that I just pulled from Chainlink's website that's stating something different regarding oracles is the same, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other, or you're right and I'm completely wrong. Maybe we're both right. Did you consider that? It's not, yeah, okay. You just said it was a plugin, then you said it was not. I don't need you to fucking send me videos of Quincy Jones when me and him have videos together talking about subjects like this. Who do you think you are? Who do you think? What? What are you talking about, man? As a matter of fact, go get Quincy. Go message him, right? If you can, and tell him that I'm on live right now and have him come on. I'd love that, right? And then the adults in the room will sit down and discuss this with you and explain it to you so that you understand how it works. Go ahead. Go tell Quincy. Hey, tell Quincy Jones that T sent you and bring him on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but that's something different. Like and the problem that I have with what he's saying is that he's saying it as if what I'm saying doesn't have any validity. And I'm like, bro, I talked to Quincy on a personal basis. Like, go get him, like I said, and bring him on. Yeah. Like I said, bro, I'm not gonna have the conversation with you at this point because you're not. Yeah, you're on some other time. All right. Yeah, you're right. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm talking about yet. You're on my channel and you follow me. Like I said, I'm not going to talk to you about it. You're not qualified. You don't hold any blockchain certs, and you're not on my level of education. All right. Sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Go get Quincy. I'll talk to him about it. All right, so let's take a look at the rest of these comments. I have a question with all that's going on right now. Which token do you think will launch off first? I don't know, right? I mean, that it solely depends on institutional interest and demand. Constellation DAG, I may hypothetically buy a nice little bag at some point in the future. How do you know I don't know what it is? How do you know I don't know what a plugin is? I could say the same thing and say you need to understand what secure data exchange is regarding an oracle. What's a price oracle? How does a node work? What's a validator? What's a UNL? How would crypto payments essentially be integrated into traditional legacy financial systems regarding messaging, right? There's a ton of shit I can ask you that I know for a fact you're not going to be able to explain, at least not on my level. So I'm not going to, like I said, this is no disrespect either. We're not on the same playing field. All right. Yeah, I know it's okay. It's my channel, but thank you for letting me know that. I know it's okay. RSR, I don't know enough about it. And you're right. Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I didn't go on Google 3 years ago plus and look at Impel and plugins and all that other stuff regarding XDC. Quincy just feels sorry for me. That's why we have conversations and do all that stuff together. Quincy, I'm Quincy's orphan adopted child. He's teaching me. So Jerome Powell mentioned today crypto has its place with a Ripple person. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that stuff with Jerome Powell. Proton and Metallicus, honestly, I've said this before. I actually had a space with Marshall Hayner. He came on, and I know that a lot of people don't like the Proton community, but he had some pretty good stuff to offer in the space. And I basically got him to say that or admit that it was in their white paper that there was a desired interop with the XRP Ledger mainnet. So, I mean, with that being said, you have so many protocols out there that are looking to plug in with this mainnet that it kind of tells you the writings on the wall. I mean, Charles Hoskinson did a complete 180, and now they're looking to integrate as well. We know that Chainlink announced their desired integration. And I guess if you want to call it a partnership, you can, but it was a press release from them regarding interop with the XRP ledger for oracles. So with that being said, yeah, I think you're seeing a situation where there's going to be several winners, and this space is becoming more collaborative than anything. I think Kurt is in here. So I want to block a bunch of numbers so bad. Distraction. Yeah, don't worry about that guy. Like I said, he's fine. He's probably no, I almost slipped. I'll say this, and we'll get off of it. There are a lot of there's a lot of people out there who don't know this, but there's a certain special somebody who's got a lot of followers, right? And I know who he is, and I could dox him as well because I found out who he is, and he doesn't know I found out who he is. And I'm not going to say how I found out who he is, but I will say this: this individual's got some got some serious mental issues. All right, making a lot of money off of people to feed them bullshit, and you go out here on multiple platforms and you follow me, even though even though we both blocked each other, and make weird pages. Like I said, man, ignore it. I gave it a little bit of time, but people like that are sick in the head. All right, and there, K Moore, the homie Kurt's in here. What's up, Kurt? Yeah, bro. People are just ignore it. Salute to the homie Kurt. Hey, Kurt. Bunch of numbers said I didn't know what a plug. I didn't know what a plug-in is. I don't understand what a fork of a mainnet is. Ooh. Hey, man. I guess those blockchain certifications, man, I got them from McDonald's. Saw Audacious Investor took the channel down. I don't know, man. Maybe he got tired of it. I don't know. Thanks for everything you do, team. After seeing your last post on XCC, it looks like it may be way more undervalued than XRP. Thoughts? He's smoking Matt Rocks, bro. Yeah, these people are silly. Kurt, come on, man. Bro, come on, man. Hey, man, I'm not even gonna get on that train, man. Kurt's over here wilding out. Yes, embrace the petty within you. No, I'm just playing with you, Kurt. I get it, man. I get it, but no, RLUSD, where did that come from? Right. And see, that's another thing, right? Like, and no disrespect to you, but I don't know where the narrative came from that the RLUSD stablecoin made XRP irrelevant. They do two totally different things, right? If you're gonna be doing transmissions regarding RLUSD, which is just tokenized fiat, wouldn't you need if you're doing it on the mainnet, the native blockchain or the blockchain's native asset regarding transmission for gas, right? So wouldn't they work together? Like seriously, and I'm not trying to be funny or disrespectful at all. I'm trying to understand where the narrative came from that a stable coin will negate a blockchain's native asset that it runs on. Here's my next question, right? When have you ever seen that happen? Question. Crickets on that, huh? So, you know what that tells me? None of you have ever seen a blockchain that houses multiple stablecoins regarding the native asset of that blockchain losing value because there were stablecoins on it. But somehow we're in the twilight zone in bizarro land, and it's going to happen for the XRP ledger, right? Ethereum has all this shit running on it, but it's probably the most valuable asset on its native protocol. But nope, that's not going to happen for XRP, right? What's going to happen with XRP is it's going to be opposite of Ethereum and Poly and all these other chains out here that have stable coins and multiple assets running on it. Instead of those assets contributing to the value, demand, and utilization of the blockchain's native asset, it's going to be backwards. And the RLUSD really has a secret code in it that's going to allow it to enact exchange on the XRP ledger, and it's going to take the utility away from the XRP token. And that will become the native asset of the XRPL mainnet. And then XRPL, will toss the XRP token to the side, and RLUSD will magically become the primary exchange mechanism for cross-border transactions and remittances, derivative swaps, be integrated into FX, and it'll be the new bridge currency, right? And that, like I said, that's no disrespect at the guy who asked the question. This is what people out here are trying to tell you, okay? People are trying to sell you this craziness, all right? And tell you this like it's true. They don't know what they're talking about, all right? They don't. Stop listening to goobers, okay? It's not going to do anything but be a positive. The two will work together. XRP will work with all other tokenized assets that are on that ledger that are being transmitted or exchanged, all right? And that's the bottom line, all right? So, like I said, stay patient, keep your heads up, enjoy the roller coaster and the volatility. That's where the money comes into play. And remember, you got 1.1 developers out there bringing activity to the XRPL. It's for a reason. And it's not because they just feel like doing it for their health. It's because there's a demand for it. All right. So remember that when you look at the price pull back and you get frustrated and you're like, I'm ready for this to be over. Don't give in. Oh, and by the way, just to let you guys know, I may or may not be at an event next week. You may or may not see a video with me on a panel soon. So maybe while I'm on that panel, I'll ask them what a plugin is, because I don't know how to create a fork off of a mainnet chain based on the identical code of that mainnet. I don't even know what that is. Hell, man, I heard from someone at McDonald's that the Stellar blockchain was a fork of the XRP ledger, and I asked him, do you mean the one that you go over there and pull out of the tray and eat with? I'm just saying, bunch of numbers. So yeah, I'll make sure to ask that question. Let me stop being petty. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'll be at an engagement next week. I'm not going to say what it is because I've been trying to keep it under wraps because I was asked to, because there's limited availability for it. So You know, they don't want the place packed to capacity, but you guys will see it after it happens. I'll be on stage, and yeah, it'll be a good time. So with that being said, I just figured I'd come on here and give you guys some quick motivation. Don't worry about it. The sidechain interop is probably one of the more important variables regarding demand on chain, and regarding a reserve-like component requiring for XRP to be locked up, that's on the mainnet, that's going to be used in correlation with that sidechain. So, like I said, you see enough institutions do that when there's enough demand. It'd be pretty cool, man. You'll have some pretty robust activity happening on the ledger. And on that note, I'm not going to keep you guys all night. Go get some rest. Go get some food. I'm out of here, and I'm getting ready to watch the new season of Black Mirror. So you know what it is. And everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and stay blessed. I'm signing out.